Hey, and what is going on, everybody? It is Zero here, back with some more Diablo action. And today we're going to be talking about the Helltooth Zombie Bears build. Okay, let's hop right into it, okay, guys? Skills for your generator, we're going Corpse Spiders, Blazing Spiders. This is probably, I think, a lot of people will agree, the best generator for this build. You could also go with Firebomb, with, say, Fire Pit, or Pyrogeist, but realistically, Corpse Spiders with Blazing Spiders is the best way to go for this, okay, guys? One of your main damage dealers is going to be Wall of Death, Firewall. This thing with Jerem Bracers and fire skills on your gear, just chews through everything. Like, the damage is just, it's not like, bam, huge damage right off the bat, but it's just steady, constant damage on anything that it's in. You drop 3 of them down, and your mimics are going to be dropping them down. The damage all stacks up. It's just phenomenal. It just chews through everything in sight. Your other damage dealers, Zombie Chargers, Zombie Bears. Now, like I said, we are going to be stacking fire damage as much as we can. And this is a poison rune. And you could run it with Explosive Beast, but even with the fire damage on your gear, Explosive Beast is not even going to come close to comparing to Bears, okay, guys? And I know some people have a bit of an issue with the way Bears handles and having to be right up in the face of enemies and whatnot, but trust me, Bears is the way to go. Soul Harvest Languish, this is going to give you a big toughness increase whenever you use it. It's also going to give you a big intelligence boost, which in turn gives you a big damage boost. So this is a definite must. I wouldn't recommend using any other rune than Languish on this. Okay. Piranhas, Piranado. This is going to give you another damage buff. Any enemy affected by this is going to take 15% more damage, and more importantly, it's going to proc Bane of the Trapped, and it's going to bunch things up so that you can bunch everything up, drop down your wall of fire, and then channel the hell out of zombie bears and just destroy everything in sight. Spirit Walk Jaunt, staple of pretty much every single Witch Doctor build. Must have. Okay. Passives, Spirit Vessel. Obviously, reasons. Once you get into higher grifts, you really need it for second life chances, guys. It's a must-have. Pierce the Veil, straight up damage increase, and despite this being a very mana-intensive build, we are going to go ahead and take it for that 30% mana cost increase regardless. If your gear is good enough and you're confident enough in your gear that you can push 60 plus without Pierce the Veil, then by all means, you could switch this out with any number of things. You could use Bad Medicine, would be very useful. Blood Ritual could be good if you're confident enough in your gear that you could stay alive. You could use Blood Ritual. Jungle Fortitude would be worth using as well. Gruesome Feast is phenomenal, obviously. Gruesome Feast can give you actually more damage than Pierce the Veil, but it's not consistent, right? You rely on the dropping of health globes, and when you get into the Grift Guardian position, you're not going to be getting a lot of those. So Pierce the Veil, in my eyes, is definitely the better and more consistent of the two passives. Having both, mind you, would be pretty darn gnarly. Swampland Attunement. You and your pets gain 120 physical, poison, fire, cold resistance for every enemy within 20 yards. And this range is increased by your gold pickup radius. This is huge for survivability, guys. Huge. Especially you're constantly up in the faces of enemies. This is going to be a big deal for you guys and your toughness, okay? Grave Injustice, gain 1% of your maximum life and mana and reduce the cooldown of all your skills by 1 second when an enemy dies within 20 yards. So you're going to be getting a little bit of life back, you're going to be getting a little bit of mana back, and you're going to be reducing all your cooldowns when enemies die within 20 yards. And again, it's increased by your gold pickup radius, guys. Okay, so let's get into the gear. Okay, Helltooth, obviously, all the way. We're not running this with a roar, guys. Okay, straight 6 pieces. So helmet, keep in mind, guys, when we're looking at my gear, is that it's totally unoptimized yet. I'm having a real big problem getting certain pieces upgraded to Ancient. I'm very confident that if I could upgrade them all to Ancient with the right rolls, that I can probably push 67, 68, 69, maybe even 70 if I really, really, really optimize everything. Okay, so helmet, int, vitality, and crit hit chance. Go with a life gem in there, guys, especially for high-end grifting. Okay, life. If you're doing regular rifts, I would put a ruby in there for bonus experience. Helltooth mantle, intelligence, vitality, cooldown reduction, wall of death damage. You want lots of wall of death damage here, guys. Helltooth tunic, intelligence, vitality, wall of death damage, and try and get some pickup radius on the secondary. Okay, that's a big one. We want to increase our pickup radius if we can, wherever possible, to essentially make our Grave Injustice and our Swampland Attunement better skills overall. Okay. Helltooth gauntlets, intelligence, vitality, crit chance, crit damage, and again, if you can get something better on the secondary than what I have. You don't need the experience. That's just a throwaway. Helltooth leg guards, intelligence, vitality, armor. Go straight tank on these pants, guys. And again, try and get the gold and health pickup radius on the secondary. Boots, Helltooth greaves, intelligence, vitality, armor, zombie charger damage. You don't really have to put zombie charger damage on these if your scrimshot is good enough, realistically speaking. Mine isn't got a great zombie charger damage roll on it, so I've got the zombie charger damage on my boots just to bump it up a little bit more, okay? Focus and restraint, you want to go intelligence, crit chance, crit damage on both. And we're running Bane of the Trapped in one, and that's a very big deal. That's going to be procced by all sorts of things. It's going to be procced by our Soul Harvest. It's going to be procced by Pronado. And it's also going to be procced by our Wall of Death because of the two-piece set of the Helltooth set. I'm sure all you guys know what the Helltooth bonuses are now, guys. It's extremely, extremely strong. Okay? So enemies hit with your primary skills, Acid Cloud, Fire Bat, Zombie Charger, Zombie Dogs, Gargantuan, Grasp of the Dead, Piranhas, Wall of Death, are affected by necrosis, becoming slowed, Bane of the Trapped, taking 1500% weapon damage every second and taking 20% increased damage from all sources for 10 seconds. So that's great for party play. Okay, Force set. After applying necrosis to an enemy, you take 50% reduced damage for 10 seconds. So that's a big deal. The more enemies that are hit by your Wall of Death, the tankier you're going to become. Okay. 6-piece set. After casting Wall of Death, gain 900% increased damage for 15 seconds to primary skills, Acid Cloud, Fire Bat, Zombie Charger, Zombie Dogs, Gargantuan, Grasp of the Dead, Piranhas, and Wall of Death. So that's another big damage increase, guys. Okay, so this set is fantastic. Okay, next up, we've got the Belt of Transcendence. You want to go full tank on this if possible. I haven't been able to find a really good one yet. This is the best one I have. Intelligence, vitality, armor, and preferably life percent, not life regen. That's garbage. Jerem's Bracers, another big part of the build. You must have these to maximize your damage from Wall of Death, guys. Fire skills, intelligence, vitality, crit chance. What makes these things so great is that your Wall of Death deals 75 to 100% increased damage and can be cast up to 3 times within 2 seconds before the cooldown begins. So you can drop down 3 of these, and your mimics, which we'll get to in a minute, will drop down just as many. They'll drop them all over the place. So you're going to have Wall of Death everywhere. So it's fantastic. Okay? You really need a Hellfire Amulet for this build, guys. It's actually a really big deal, okay? You want to get Confidence Ritual into your passives, guys. So you got to get one of these 4 or Confidence Ritual on your Hellfire Amulet. Confidence Ritual, guys, you deal 25% additional damage to enemies within 20 yards. Okay, so like I said, this is a up-in-your-face build. So you are going to get a huge damage buff out of this all the time. It's fantastic. We've got Esoteric Alteration in there. Some people like to run the Gizzard in here. Either are fine, but personally I've been preferring Esoteric Alteration. Gain 35.5% non-physical damage reduction at rank 51, and while below half-life, your resistance to cold, fire, lightning, poison, and arcane are increased by 75%. That's a huge deal. Huge deal. Okay, and the last gem that we're running, guys, is Bane of the Stricken. Each attack you make against an enemy increases the damage it takes from your attacks by 1.33 at rank 53, and that just keeps going up and up and up, guys. And then gain 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. Huge damage there. Huge. And the last two pieces, guys, in this slot here, it's kind of up for debate. If you're running non-season, you're not going to be able to run this because it's a season-only item. Henry's Perquisition, fantastic mojo. Intelligence, Vitality, crit chance, Wall of Death damage again. Okay, and it's so good, guys. The special affix on it: the first time an enemy deals damage to you, reduce that damage by 60 to 80% and charm the enemy for 3 seconds. So that's going to trigger your Bane of the Trapped, and it's definitely helpful for survivability. It's huge. Another thing you could run here easily is a Thing of the Deep, because it's got that pickup radius on it, guys, so that's going to increase your passes like exponentially to 40 yards, pretty much the whole damn screen. So those are your two choices there. Thing of the Deep, but I prefer Henry's Perquisition. And lastly, a must-have item, the Scrimshaw. You're going to want to go for a damage percent roll on this. Intelligence, Vitality, Zombie Charger damage. You definitely want a higher Zombie Charger damage than I have. Again, this is why we have it on my boots, okay? Because I've only got 62%, and the thing can roll from 60 to 80%, okay? And the other great thing about it is that reduce the mana cost of Zombie Charger by 40 to 50%. So basically, it's that there that allows us to run Pierce the Veil and be able to still manage, even though we're spending a lot more mana than we should be, okay? Because that kind of offsets it quite a bit. All right, and you're gonna want an emerald in your socket on that. And lastly, in the cube, you're gonna want a furnace, Grin Reaper. Grin Reaper adds an absolute ton of damage to this build from the mimics. The mimics are going to pop out. They're going to be casting Prawnado, they're going to be casting Zombie Bears, and they're going to be casting Wall of Death. So you're going to have bears, Prawnados, Wall of Deaths all over the goddamn place. It's just craziness. And lastly, you want your Convention of Elements. Convention of Elements, when this thing loops around to fire, you will not believe the amount of damage that your Wall of Death does, and when it loops around to poison, your Zombie Bears are going to just explode, guys. They're just going to explode the damage all over the place. Obviously, the reason we're running the Furnace is for the increased damage against elites. Okay, you could get away with running an SMK instead of the Furnace, and then instead of running Soul Harvest, you could run Slam Dance. But I think that the Furnace is definitely the way to go. That's my opinion. I think that's actually a lot of people's opinions. Okay, guys, so that is that. That is the build, guys. This is Helltooth Zombie Bears in Season 4. Remember that, guys. This is Season, so this isn't going to be exactly the same for you season player, non-season players. You're not going to be able to use Henry's Perquisition. You're not going to be able to use Bane of the Stricken. Okay, so that's that, guys. It's a very strong build, fully optimized. I see no reason why this couldn't run 70. I really think it could. The leaderboard right now, top places is 69, but I'm really confident that this build could run a 70. Right up there with Dagger of Darts, for sure. This is an extremely powerful build. Later next week, I'm gonna do a video. There's two Helltooth builds that are pretty popular right now. There's the Acid Cloud build and the Zombie Bears build. I'm gonna do a Acid Cloud versus Zombie Bears Helltooth build video, and just kind of go over the differences and what the strengths and the weaknesses of each build, and kind of give my opinion on which one I think overall is better. But we'll get to that next week, because I still gotta make the damn staff, because I've been so focused on the Bears version of the build. So that's that, guys. Get out there, get your Helltooth pieces, Zombie Bear it up. It's pretty badass. It's very strong. Even with terrible gear, you're gonna, with this build, like totally unoptimized gear. Trust me, I was there when I first put the build together. you're going to be outperforming guys with other classes that have well more optimized gear than you. This build is extremely strong. Totally unoptimized gear, totally unleveled gems. You're going to be running grifts that are higher than your friends that are playing with optimized gear on more optimized gear on other classes. You're going to be doing very well for yourself. So that's zombie bears, guys. Get out there, farm it, make those pieces. Remember, with the cube, you can actually pretty much craft these pieces on your own. You just got to be patient and diligent, guys. So get out there and get her going. So like, comment, subscribe. Later.